We're going to dive in with a song during these days to set the tone. I will call in the light very briefly, but we're going to set the tone for this incredible experience together with a song from one of my favorite artists. You can probably guess who it's going to be.
At times I feel like running, at times I feel like hiding low. Oh, I just wanna feel something that makes me feel at home. Down in the depths, when I've got nothing left, hear a voice calling out in my soul. This heart of gold is who you are. This loving soul that's come so far. Through highs and lows and battle scars, you found me walking through the dark. Oh, oh, this heart of gold. Oh, oh, this heart of gold. Now you know that you're this heart of gold. You're this heart of gold. At times I feel like dying, 'cause I don't wanna feel at all. These rivers run down my eyelids and fall. Pain is a way that you reach out to me when I can't hear the voice of my soul. This heart of gold is who you are. This loving soul that's come so far. Through highs and lows and battle scars, you found me walking through the dark. Oh, oh, this heart of gold. Oh, oh, this heart of gold. Now you know that you're this heart of gold. You're this heart of gold. Oh, 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 you're this heart of gold. Yeah, you're this heart of gold.
So I do get so incredibly moved by that song that um, it is a little tough to speak in this moment. Maybe we'll start every day with that song. It really does connect me with what we're here for, which is a greater experience of who we are as love, as our heart, as soul, as whatever word that you might use for that in this life. And in my experience, taking some time consistently, for me in the morning, it really can be any time, but really creating this beautiful, unique practice that is yours, that helps you turn on that light switch that is your heart of gold, that is the light. Well, you can tell I get so passionate about it. I just love it. It truly has changed my life in so many ways. And so I'm so excited to share it with you. I am going to do my best to not speak as much, to keep things succinct so we can really get some beautiful momentum over 17 days. Today is going to have a lot more information, space and setup. And then the following days will have some juicy ideas and play and exploration, but also time of silence, so that we can all kind of pick these up and play together. They will be more experiential. There's a bunch of info today. I am just going to briefly call in the light, and then I'm going to dive in. So I do encourage us all, those watching right now live, and also those of you watching the recording, I just ask that we all connect in some beautiful way. Perhaps we could imagine that we are all in the same room together, and I'm going to boldly ask us all to hold hands. And I'm going to ask that together we are opening to a wonderful, a beautiful, clear intention of experiencing more of who we are, more of that light, that love, that heart of gold. And we are here to ask the whole spirit, that source, that love, to shine the light on how we can do that more practically every day. And how can we use a beautiful touch point, a morning practice, to really be this incredible friend, this incredible gift that we can consistently rely on in our life. We ask for the highest good. We just ask for the greatest experience possible. And we do also ask in this loving, in this compassion, in this oneness that we're creating, that anything that can be lifted be done so. So we do ask for the clearing. When we come together as a group, we do ask that any karma and negativity, imbalance, stinking thinking, feelings we don't want, anything that can be released in this love, in this connection, in this time together, we ask that that be done. And we are just so profoundly grateful. And so it is. All righty. As most of you know, those of you, there are so many familiar faces here with me. So you know that I love my slides, and I use my slides so I don't talk ad infinitum. I can talk a lot. So I will share a little bit of my story in an impossible 2-minute capsule. So I did intuitively know that a morning practice was a huge key for me. I started playing with a morning practice pretty much from when I left my corporate career. I moved to Los Angeles to work for my spiritual teacher. That was 20 years ago this year. And I started a master's in spiritual science then. And I started to learn how to really meditate and do a lot of amazing things. And so in those workshops, I would start my morning, start this workshop in this beautiful way. And so back then I knew that if I could effectively and consistently do that in my life, I just knew there was some gold, some magic there. But for 10 years, maybe even more, it just didn't happen. You know, when we would come together in a structured workshop, I would do it, but really I didn't really get into a consistent practice of meditation or this for a very long time. I did work for my spiritual teacher for 12 years, and I got really good to getting my answers about my life from him, which was a lovely experience. And it was actually a tough time in my life that I will talk about later in the program that really urged me, okay, you're not happy. You've got all the answers inside. You have this amazing, clean, clear connection to source, to God, to love. Why don't you sit your ass down consistently and really open to whatever direction and guidance is for you? So that's how my morning practice, my way, got started. And it wasn't me creating my own thing. I wanted to start my own business, do coaching, that I really use this practice to start to get the information, the clarity to do that with. So now my morning practice is my battery. It is my compass. It is my clearing, a way that I clear anything from the dream state, but just definitely clear karma in my life. And it is my friend. It is this real, alive part of my life. So very quickly, we're going to talk about your physical space. So for me, what's really important is having a space that helps you come alive, right? Sit up, be alert, take notes, be in your body. Writing things down is a big part of this for me. So being able to sit up and be alive is important, but also a space that helps you relax and let go. When I'm doing my the part of my practice that's silence, that's meditation, I do like to let my head go. So because I'm kind of more in presentation mode right now, I can't do this, but in this chair that I'm in actually, which is my morning practice chair, I actually can completely let my head go and just completely let go. So find what works best for you in that sense. I believe that ideally a space that's only used for your meditation and morning practice may support you in having a little more juice. But in saying that, it doesn't really matter at all. It's the intention, it's the heart focus that matters. And I will be transparent and say that I use multiple parts around my house for my morning practice. And sometimes I start it in bed. Sometimes I even do the whole thing in bed. So we're here to be messy. We're here to really just have fun with this, not only in these 17 days, but in our life in general. So what is a little more consistent for me in my morning practice is my stationary caddy. That kind of informs my morning practice, and it has my journal. So you may not be able to see this here, but I have this very cool caddy that is my morning practice. Unfortunately, I've tried to do this in anyway, I'll show it to you over the days. We'll talk about it a lot. But it has colored pencils, it has Post-its, it has my journal, it has supplies for my candles. It kind of is the fun way that my basic self uses to know, hey, it's morning practice time. It's fun. And also my journal that I will go into, writing it down, I think is, well, it's a day later in the program, but writing down has just become such a profound part of this practice for me. It truly has become like my map in life. First thing in the morning, I get great shit. I really get clear, amazing, expansive ideas for my life. And so living from the beautiful things that come in my morning practice has become my gold. Some journal, I can't say enough about a journal, and I will be saying a lot more about your journal throughout this program. Consider lighting a candle, really great if any negativity comes up. It does help clear the space. And I will also share a little bit about something recently I've gotten into, which is a diya, which is an Indian ritual, but just really fun. And again, it's just been this incredible new play for me. Finally, coffee, huge part of my morning practice. I love it. And also having water by me, incredibly important. So I tried to make this as a gift. I got into bullet journaling for a while, and you can't really see that, but we'll get into that. I just can't underscore getting creative more, right? If your 5-year-old could have a real role in creating your morning practice, like what might they say? And it is truly the little things that help us feel happy and special. So maybe there is a particular blanket or a piece of song or music. Perhaps there is particular lighting, doing it with someone else, a photo, an altar. We don't have time this morning to all sit down together and be contemplative, but just be allowing anything that's popping in for you that's important, write that down. And you will have some time as I finish talking to just spend a little time and kind of map out what might really excite you and call you into a morning practice rather than you feeling like you've got to push yourself every day. So get creative. This is of importance, I believe. I've experienced. I do my sacred morning practice first thing. I had this amazing awareness a few days ago. I just woke up and I really did have this awareness just of how profoundly I was still connected to God, to Source. And before we pick up our phone, before we engage with someone else, before we look at our email inbox and activate all the things that are already in motion in our life, that first moment in the morning, we are perhaps connected to this beautiful door that's still slightly open to who we are. And so let's take advantage of that in my experience. So what this often means for me is as soon as I wake up, I will do my light visualization in bed. Then particularly in winter, I then get up and make coffee and then get my caddy, or my caddy's usually there, jump into my chair and do my morning practice. And I wrote this down because I want to be as transparent and messy as I can. Last Tuesday, I didn't get started until 11 a.m., right? Life happens, emergencies happen, things happen. But the first moment of my day to be conscious, to sit, I did it. I did my morning practice at 11 a.m. and it worked incredibly wonderfully. It's got to be a living practice. Oh my Lord. I think one of the reasons I didn't follow through is because I tried to make it all so perfect and so concrete. Oh my Lord. This is going to change and grow for everyone, I believe, if it's a real connected into spirit, because spirit's always changing and growing us. So this is going to change and grow. So can you really allow it to grow and evolve and flower and then die? I've had periods where it's like, oops, where did it go? And then it resprouts and flourishes in new ways. So try and let go of thinking that there is a particular end product that you're working towards, but just have fun. Let's adventure. This is the heart of this. Wow, I can talk. Look, it's already 7:16. Um, the heart of this for me is really about a particular practice that helps me get more space for me in my life. And one of the biggest challenges about getting a morning practice is being able to prioritize you in your life. Uh, I'm just going to pause there and just let us all be aware. Is it easy for you to put yourself first and do things for yourself? Or is it a little challenging to really find time and space for you, your needs, your wants, your dreams, your play, your life? And so I've experienced that through a morning practice, filling myself up consistently with what I believe are the two human needs. I love how Dr. Gabor Mate talks about it. I actually might put the video in today's page. But being loved, really having our human needs met, and also being loving, allowing that authentic expression, allowing that instinct. Like, what is it that we're called to share, to do? Allowing and being with both of those experiences is so important. And this is a bit of a Debbie Downer, but I will say, not any of you, but too many on the planet are living from an empty cup. And what comes when we're completely depleted, we have no time for ourselves, we haven't loved ourselves or really given ourselves any of our needs and wants. We show up in an empty cup, but we're still living and trying to take care of other people. And what that inevitably creates is resentment, bitterness, conflict, just challenge, and then internally stress and addiction. So this is not only a wonderful thing that you can do for yourself, but I believe it's a wonderful thing that you can do for the entire world, because the more of us that are really showing up in our light, that does cause those ripple effects to truly lift the consciousness of this beautiful planet. So allowing a sacred spiritual practice that includes our humanity. I believe that I found it really hard to get a spiritual practice consistently because I wasn't including my human. For me, bringing in my human needs, my wants, my imbalances into a sacred practice has helped me learn how to balance and release my emotions consistently. I'm just very emotional. I had a juicy childhood, so I'm still working through trauma and karma related to that. So my morning practice has been profound for that. It helps me align my human levels with my soul, my spirit, right? What more do we need than that? And it has really helped me experience real self-love, real closeness, like a real relationship with me. It's priceless. Albert Einstein may or may not have said this. This quote is definitely debated, but it's a wonderful quote nonetheless. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. So I do know this quote probably was apparent many, many years ago. And I do believe that now we do have a society with a lot more spiritual people on the planet that are honoring their intuitive mind, that are really living in the best way that they can for their soul, for their higher awareness. And perhaps for some of us at this point, the focus is also about how do we actively really make our ego, make our rational mind the servant. because it's not that automatically. If we ignore our human, subconsciously and unconsciously, it will still try and get in the driver's seat. So for me, a morning practice is all about, how do I allow my rational mind to be that servant up into my intuitive mind, my heart of gold, my soul. So we're going to play with this in so many different ways throughout these next 17 days. Experiences that help us experience you are love, you are soul, you are your heart, you are God. And so we'll be playing with lots of different ones of those. I'm not a spiritual teacher, so I will defer and recommend lots of different meditation practices per se. We're more just going to be playing with the various parts of a sacred practice. And I will say more about that over the next little bit. I wasn't going to share this because it's felt very sacred and sweet. So I have actually, I wasn't going to share this, but I am now. So the first thing that I do each morning is that I do say hi, I hug, and I love me, which is God, which is all things. So there is, as soon as I wake up, there is kind of like and there aren't really words with it, but there's like a direct connection. Like I see you, like hi, a closeness, a loving, and a hug. It feels very vulnerable to say that, but that is what I do when first thing when I wake up. The ways that I include my human, and we're going to be getting into lots of these over the next 17 days. Creativity. I use colored pencils and bullet journaling. It's so fun. I do write down my next steps so that I have them, and I do always include at least one step that grounds my clarity and my frequency into today. We'll talk about allowing emotion. We'll talk about allowing our human needs. And so I'm asking this question to us all in this moment. What does your human need in order to serve your heart and soul? And I'm going to be coming back to that question a little over this next 17 days. But what does your human need in order to be that beautiful servant that it wants to be, I believe, to your higher good, to your heart, to your soul, so that you can serve and be a joy to the rest of the world? And so you might ask your inner 5-year-old to help you get clear on that. And then we'll also be exploring, what does your soul, your heart, your spirit guide you to consider for these next 17 days and beyond, if you were to lift into your clear intuitive awareness? What is it that's clear for you? Are there specific ideas or intentions that you want to set right now to support yourself in showing up over these next 17 days? And finally, let yourself wing it. Jump into it without having it all figured out. When we jump, we find more than wings. We find